Hey, there's an article that I stumbled upon the other day. It was published back in July, earlier this year, by a UK publication, and it's called Search for the World's Loneliest Whale Who Has Been Singing to Himself for 20 Years. A team of scientists will attempt to find the loneliest whale in the world, unquote, next autumn and are able to track its route across the North Pacific Ocean. They have been listening to the animal's abnormally high song for over 20 years, but have never seen it. It is called lonely because it appears to communicate at a frequency not used by any other whale. Now, normal whales, I learned after reading this, communicate around 17 to 18 hertz, and it's actually too deep for humans to hear normally. But this whale, the loneliest whale, is communicating at a frequency of 52 hertz. So that's almost like a 40-point difference in what's normal and what this whale is communicating at. Now, whenever I hear about whales or find an article like this, read a headline like this, I always think of Prophet Yunus, because it's probably the first instance where I learned about what a whale was, a big fish, in my Islamic education. You know, before I even went to school, you know, I'm 3 and 4 and 5 years old, and I'm learning about this. So immediately when I see this headline and I start reading the story, I think of the story of Prophet Yunus, or Jonah, as they say in the Bible and in the Torah. So let me go ahead and read a little snippet about him. This is also from the Quran. This is chapter 10, verse 98, and it says, "For alas, there has never yet been any community that attained to faith in its entirety, and thereupon benefited by its faith, except the people of Jonah," the people of Yunus. "When they came to believe, we removed from them the suffering of disgrace, which otherwise would have befallen them even in the life of this world, and allowed them to enjoy their life during the time allotted to them." So this was what Prophet Yunus achieved in his lifetime. Of course, we know before that, he had actually fled from his people. They were so bad, he thought. They irritated his life so much that he just took off. He ran away. He fled. He boarded a ship, and they started sailing, and there was a huge storm. And so the captain said they were going to draw lots, and whoever picked the worst lot would be thrown overboard so that the rest of them could have a chance at survival. The ship was too heavy and the storm was throwing them around. Of course, Prophet Yunus, maybe as a punishment for, just abandoning his people, he picked the shortest lot. And they threw him overboard, and a huge whale swallowed him up. And while Yunus was inside of the whale, he repented, and he attained perfect faith, and he basically asked God for forgiveness and for another chance, or whatever communication they had, and Allah decided it was accepted, and so the whale spit him out and surfaced the water, spit him out, and threw him back onto land, where he met a new group of people, and they were in the thousands, I believe. And what do you know? They attained perfect faith through his message and through him preaching to them and taking the time to teach them and talk to them. And this was the second time around. So now back to this whale. I wonder, something happened to this whale, or something about this whale that science is telling us is different, and they don't know why, and it's intriguing to them. So intriguing that they're going to do a documentary about it, and they're going to follow it and see if they can catch a view of it. They've never seen it. They just hear it on this abnormally high frequency, and now they're going to track it and make a documentary about it in the fall of next year. I'm definitely going to follow the story, absolutely, because this is fascinating stuff, and I believe it could be a sign. As we know, there's so many instances in the Quran, which also is supposed to be a sign for humanity, and in it are ayat, signs, that say, take a look at what we created for you in the heavens and the earth, and if you're a person who is of intelligence and a person who wants to believe, you will see the signs. So to support that, I'll go ahead and read chapter 2, verse 118, quite short. "Those who do not know say, Why does Allah not speak to us, or there come to us a sign? Thus spoke those before them like their words. Their hearts resemble each other. Actually, they're just alike, he's saying. We have shown clearly the signs to a people who are certain in faith. So if you are sure that there's something bigger than yourself that exists, and you're sure that there's a God, or you even want to believe that there's a God, the Quran is promising that there will be signs for you to look at and reflect, and that will help kind of fortify you and increase your faith. And for me, at least, the fact that scientists have 20 years ago started noticing this abnormal whale, the lonely whale, that's a sign for me, because I immediately thought of Prophet Yunus. I wonder if he's looking for Prophet Yunus. You know, is he aching for the divinity again? Does he want another job? Is he, you know, who is he calling out for? Who? Is it someone? Is it another whale? Why are the other whales, you know, staying away? So it's very interesting, and I have to follow the story and see what happens. And I hope the documentary is good, because now I'm very interested in how this all plays out. And absolutely this is a sign for me, and there may be different signs for other people, but this was certainly one. It makes sense that the loneliest whale feels lonely because he had a prophet with him, you know, bickering inside of him, and now he doesn't. And he could have been living for thousands of years, who knows? Scientists only found him at least 20 years ago. And before then, maybe we didn't have the equipment to even hear 52 Hertz in the ocean. But now we do, and 20 years ago we do. But how long has this whale been around? We have no idea. And that just proves that there's so much we don't know, and there's so much that science hasn't told us, isn't able to tell us yet, that we aren't there yet. And so it's a sign for me to think and reflect and ponder, and I hope I get to see more signs, inshallah.